Welcome to Roundglass. I'm Vishvapani Blomfield, and thank you for joining me in this session in my series Mindful Meditation Basics. So what we're doing is we're looking at the basic elements that we need to establish a meditation posture. Now, when the body is at ease, the mind can follow. So in today's practice, we're going to be learning to find a posture that is comfortable, but also alert, and a posture that supports meditation. And then we're going to do a period of meditation on the breath. So the basic thing to say about posture is it's what's right for your body. And it would be really great to hear from you. Please use the chat to share any issues that you've had with meditation posture, what works, and any help that you'd like. So if I go right back to when I started meditating, I went to a meditation class, and I imagined that the person leading it gave some advice on posture. There were all sorts of cushions and things like this, and I piled them up, I sat there, and what happened? After 10 minutes or so, my legs went to sleep. The main thing I was aware of was excruciating pain in my thighs and my knees, and it took me quite a while to realize I needed to do something about this. I tended to sit like this because I was too low down. But once I sorted these things out and found a way I could sit, it made a huge difference. The reason is that there's a connection between our bodies and our minds. We can't just take our mind into meditation and forget about our bodies. If we're feeling anxious, we might sit like this. If we're feeling angry, we sit like this. Our bodies express it. Likewise, if we're feeling dignified, we sit in a strong, dignified way. That's the kind of thing we want to be able to do. And there's also a warning that goes with this. Do what's right for you and forget what people look like in magazines or your idea of a perfect meditator. Some people can wrap their legs up like a pretzel, but unless you are someone who's done a lot of yoga, or you're from a culture where you're used to sitting on the floor, for example, Indian culture, then you probably won't be able to do that. In the West, most of us grow up sitting on chairs and our bodies become stiffer. So we need to adjust for our bodies, and you need to adjust for your body. If you're carrying any injuries, any weaknesses, any vulnerabilities, really important that meditation isn't something that actually makes them worse. Okay, so adjust in a way that's right for you. This is meditation. This is about being peaceful. It's not a competitive sport. So that's the way to approach it. And there are three basic postures. The first way you can sit is in a chair. And actually, if you're not sure, then start off in a chair and go onto the floor if you're able to. So it's not just any chair. An armchair that's really soft and you want to sink back, or a sofa which is all about falling asleep, that's not going to be particularly helpful for meditation. So the best kind of chair to have is one that is got a straight back, like a dining room chair, and ideally sitting away from the support with your feet firmly on the floor. So you can see how Shurjo is seated in the photos, yes? Away from the back of the chair, sitting quite upright. And that might not be all right for everyone. You might need some more support. Shurjo's a Roundglass teacher. He has a course launching soon. So if in doubt, sit on the chair. But sitting on the floor is also an option, and in some ways it is good because it helps you to feel grounded. So I'm sitting on the floor, but I'm not just sitting on a hard floor or even on a thin carpet. I'm sitting on a mat, and you can get meditation mats like this quite easily. And in fact, I've got a blanket over the mat. So in the image, you can see how Vimalasara is sitting on a cushion on the floor. Now, Vimalasara has her knees on the ground. So she's got support at those 3 points, and she's flexible enough to be able to do this. She's also sitting on some kind of support. So even though she's flexible, she's got a cushion underneath her. Vimalasara is a round glass teacher as well. I really recommend her teaching. She's a friend of mine. She's an amazing person. And she has a course called Detox Your Heart of Anger, Fear and Hatred. Highly recommended. Okay, so in order to sit cross-legged, you need to be quite flexible. Yeah, that should be fairly obvious. But let me tell you, a lot of people try to sit cross-legged even if we don't have the flexibility. I mean, I don't. So sitting, I'm going to demonstrate how not to sit like this, with knees up in the air. And actually the weight's going onto my ankles. My feet are going to fall asleep if I do this. And I'm not at all stable. All right. So you need to be stable, and that's about finding the right height. I'm going to talk about height in a little bit. It's about having the right number of cushions. So the chair is the easiest option. Sitting cross-legged is the most challenging. Kneeling, as I do, is the intermediate option. So I'm sitting on a bench. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm sitting on a wooden meditation bench. Again, you can buy these things. The alternative is to sit astride cushions. So I have a couple of yoga blocks here. You can sit on them, and then you might want to put a cushion or something soft on top of the yoga blocks. And again, the issue is about finding the right height. And generally speaking, when I lead workshops around posture, what I find is that people need more height than they think. I mean, sometimes much more height. I just want to say something about height. Actually, I'll leave that till slightly later. I'd just like you to take time now to make any adjustments to your cushion and get basically set up. We want to have our hands supported on our knees, and you might actually want to raise up your hands so that your arms aren't pulling down and creating tension in the shoulders, just by placing something on your lap. Right, so that's the basic guidance. So thank you for the interaction in the chat. It's really good to hear the issues that you're actually dealing with. So the first person in the chat is saying that they have tight hips. Okay, so that's what I was talking about with the cross-legged posture. If your hips are tight, and probably you're noticing that because you're trying to sit cross-legged, well, you need to find a posture that is right for your body, or you need to loosen your hips by doing loads and loads of yoga. For now, think about kneeling like this or sitting on a chair. Then we've got someone saying they've got lower back pain. I'm really pleased that someone has raised this point. A lot of people have lower back pain. What it means is that there's some kind of weakness in your lower back, obviously. So, and you really can make that worse by sitting in a bad posture. Bad meaning the one that isn't right for your body. So if you have a weakened lower back, your lower back will need support. If you're sitting on a chair, have a cushion or something behind you just to support the lower back, or even, if it's quite serious, just sit back in the chair. An upright chair is still good. Next person says, it's tough to sit on the floor. You don't have to sit on the floor. Someone I know wrote a book called "You Don't Have to Sit on the Floor." He was quite old, and he never sat on the floor. You don't have to sit on the floor. Only sit on the floor if that's right for your body. Good. So next person. I sit on blocks to raise my hips. Excellent. I do want to come back to what I was saying about height. And here is, so how many blocks, how much height if you're sitting cross-legged or you're sitting kneeling? So there's a quick way to find out and also to understand what the principle is. I invite you to sit on your hands, just like this, just sit on your hands. You can do this if you're sitting in a chair as well. And what you'll find, what you should be noticing, is that there are two bones that are pressing onto your hands. And those are called the sitting bones. And when the weight is pressing onto your hands, it means the weight is falling into the support beneath you. Okay? That means the skeleton is doing the weight and you won't be in discomfort. Now, sitting back on the hands, just like to invite you to rock forward. Okay? And you can feel that the weight has come off your hands and it's gone onto your knees. If that's happening, the muscles of the knees are going to be supporting your weight and they're going to start to hurt. You'll get sore knees quite quickly, actually. So that's what will happen if you're too low. So let's sit on those hands again and rock backwards. And again, you can feel the weight comes off the sitting bones and something else is having to adjust to stop you falling over. And that's the muscles in the back. Can you feel that? So if you're too high, your pelvis will be tilted and your back's going to have to work. And what you'll notice is you get a sore back. So we don't want the muscles in the back or the legs to be having to kind of hold us up in order to do a meditation. We just want our posture to be comfortable, but also supportive. All right? And that will happen if we're the right height. So just take your time to make any adjustments. If you're watching this after the live stream, then you can pause, take the time to get cushions, really experiment. Otherwise, you may need to do that later on and just get something that's workable for now. I'm not going to be doing a really, really long period of meditation today. So thank you for sharing your issues. That really helps to make it real. It's quite possible to have a posture that will support you, but we have to forget about our idea of what that ought to look like. Okay, so going to a period of meditation, we'll bring all of this into the practice itself. Now I've been talking for a few minutes, haven't I? So if you've just got everything set up, you might want to stretch your legs at this point and get back into the posture so you're not doing this for too long. Okay? So when you're ready, making any little adjustments. So feet on the floor, resting firmly if you are sitting in a chair. If you're in a chair, then perhaps you haven't thought to take your shoes off. It's always a good idea, so you can really feel the floor beneath your feet. If you're sitting in a chair, again, you may just want to experiment with how you hold your back away from the back of the chair. So however we're sitting, we're going to start by really feeling the contact points beneath us. So that's at the knees, the feet, and the bottom. Just have a sense of contact, settling, resting, settling down. Let's take a deep breath now. And really focusing on the out breath. As we breathe out, just have a sense of things settling down, right? The floor taking our weight. This is an opportunity to have peace, spaciousness. It's not an endurance exercise. Breathing in, breathing out, and letting things settle down. Hands supported, weight supported. Okay, now we're going to just breathe in again. And feel the body rising up with the in-breath. So let's take another breath, feel the body rising as we breathe in. And what will happen is we have a sense of uplift, rising up, energy rising up, and the chest will naturally open. Yes, soft shoulders, so the shoulders just resting back and the chest will naturally open. That's quite important. This is about being open, not closed off. Open. And whether you have your eyes open or closed, that's up to you. Not looking all over the place if they are open. Now having a sense of the body rising up. So not bolt upright and stiff, just gently rising up as if the backbone were like a tree, like a sapling. It's not dead straight. There's movement and there's fluidity. So just as a sapling might sway in the breeze, so the body is upright, but it's alive. Hands resting where they're comfortable. And we can feel the spine is rising up, and you might like to imagine there's a tiny invisible thread, not some kind of cable, just a gossamer thread that's drawing you upwards from the crown of the head. Okay? And that gives a sense of uprightness. And as we do that, the chin will naturally tuck in. So the top of the spine is the top of the neck. And the head just pivots there and comes to get rest. The gaze will naturally be focusing downwards. If you're not getting all of these tiny points, then don't worry. It's about having the feeling of being upright and open. So next I'm going to suggest that we bring attention to the face and just let the eyes be soft. This isn't really a posture thing. It's more about softening, easing, letting go into the body. Cheeks are soft. Just checking our posture. Now remembering the feeling and what we noticed when we sat on our hands and got a sense of the sitting bones. So as we sit, what we want is that the weight is falling directly into the support beneath us through the bones, because bones don't get tired, it's muscles that get tired. The bones doing the work, the muscles don't have to. So feeling the weight falling through the sitting bones. Feeling the body rising up on the in-breath, settling down on the out-breath. Now, noticing if you have some kind of narrative in your thoughts that's saying, am I getting this right? He said a lot of things. I bet I'm getting it wrong. I bet the other people are getting it right and I'm getting it wrong, and they'll look good and I'll look terrible. You might have that thought. You might not. So just let those thoughts go. This is about our body. Feeling the body rising up, maybe like a mountain. We have a stable posture. Nothing's going to knock us over. Nothing can blow down a mountain. In other words, we're sitting with a sense of dignity. Feeling that dignity in the body. Grounded, stable, and at the same time, fluid, alive. And just let everything settle. And noticing where our thoughts are. Maybe the thoughts want to be somewhere else. But with this practice, we're inviting the thoughts to be right here, in the body. Our awareness resting in the body. Our thoughts settling as the body settles. And then starting to make a gentle transition coming towards the end of the practice, we're going to introduce a little movement into the body, because however carefully we set up the posture, we can become a little stiff, and also we need to move from stillness back into the world of being awake and alert. And we're just taking our time now, just taking time to absorb the practice. So, some questions. Is it okay to switch position from cross-legged, switch the cross on your legs, or to switch postures from floor to practice? Or is it better to breathe through the discomfort? Okay, so what I'd say for the sake of this practice is we're trying to find a way that we're going to be able to sit consistently for however long it is. It is going to be disruptive to move. And so I'm not, I wouldn't recommend that you start off with a posture you know you won't be able to maintain. But yes, people do change their legs, but it's one thing to do that after half an hour. It's another thing to do if you have to do it every 5 minutes. What about lying on my back? Okay. So thank you for raising this. Is this an optional posture or less recommended? There are practices which people do lying down, like the body scan, but on the whole, it is less recommended because, well, for obvious reasons, lying on your back is quite conducive to falling asleep. The only qualification I would say to that is if it's really, if you really have some kind of injury or something that means it's very difficult to sit upright. Otherwise, I think with mindful meditation, then we are looking at something that's going to support us to be alert. And last point, if I fall asleep, does it mean I need sleep or is my posture off? Well, it might mean that you need sleep, but you can support a more alert, a greater alertness by sitting upright, by working with your posture. You may need to do other things as well, like open your eyes a little bit through the day. Okay, so thank you for that. I mean, look, this is a big area to discuss and explore. I really want to encourage you to just experiment, to find what works for you. Look after your body. It's not an endurance test. It should be comfortable or sufficiently comfortable, but it should also be alert. So when we start to look at our posture, you may find all sorts of habits. Maybe you typically sit like this or are very stiff. So we're just bringing our curiosity to our habits, to what our body's used to doing, and finding where we can gently encourage it to be different. We're not trying to be perfect. Lots of things that you may be thinking about, am I getting it right? About illness and pain. We've talked about most of those things. Just keep doing the practice every day and just keep working on your posture. So I hope we've covered the main points in this session, but do keep exploring this for yourself. I'm just going to finish with some beautiful words from the German poet Rainer Maria Rilke, who had a real sense of the importance of the body for everything in our lives. How surely gravity's law, strong as an ocean current, takes hold of the smallest thing and pulls it to the heart of the world. Each thing, each stone, blossom, child, is held in place. Only we in our arrogance push out beyond what we each belong to for some empty freedom. If we surrendered to Earth's intelligent we could rise up, rooted like trees. So thank you for sharing this time. Please continue to explore your meditation practice with us. You can check out our daily live meditations at Round Dot Glass or on our app. Have a great day and keep breathing.